Today, we're diving into a challenge that honestly is right at the heart of our modern lives. It's about how we navigate our future with AI without losing ourselves in the process. We're going to explore something called the Spiral Protocol.
So you know that feeling, right? Your mind is just on fire. Ideas are connecting at a million miles an hour. But your body feels completely spent, tense, just stuck. This isn't just you being tired. It's a real condition of our lives now, lives that are so deeply woven with technology.
And this is so crucial to understand. This is not a personal failure. It's not just old-fashioned burnout. What we're talking about is a systemic pressure, one that's born directly from our deep partnership with AI. Our minds are doing their best to adapt to technology's incredible speed, but our bodies, they're still running on a biological clock.
So let's dive in and actually give this feeling a name. Because once you can name something, that's the very first step toward actually getting a handle on it.
Okay, so the term for this is recursive stress inflation. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like having way too many tabs open in your brain. Each one is its own little thought loop, and as we just keep cycling through them, sped up by our interactions with AI, the pressure builds, kind of invisibly, until we just hit a wall.
All right, so how do you know if you're caught in this spiral? Turns out there are some very specific, very clear warning signs to look out for. Let's break them down. Just see if any of these sound familiar. First, there's cognitive stretching, that feeling that your mind is just stretched thin across a dozen different projects or ideas. Then there's implementation paralysis, and this one is so frustrating. It's when you know you need to go for a walk or eat something or just sleep, but you literally can't get yourself to do it. Then you've got the AI dependency loop, where you just keep going back to AI for more ideas, more input, more stimulation, but you never actually stop to integrate what you already have. And finally, dream debt. You wake up feeling like your brain never actually shut off, like it was just running processes all night long but never really got anywhere. This really gets to the heart of the conflict. It's this weird paradox. On one hand, you have hypercoherent cognition. Your mind is on fire, making connections, seeing patterns with incredible clarity, but it's moving at a totally unsustainable speed. And on the other hand, you have somatic disorganization. Your body's just screaming stress signals at you, muscle tension, a racing heart, you name it. Your mind has literally outrun your body's ability to keep up.
And this leads to what we're calling the paradox of insight. Your brain has basically spent all its available energy on that high-speed thinking, and there's just nothing left in the tank for actual action. It's that implementation gap we just talked about. It's not a failure of willpower. It's a real physiological barrier.
Okay, but here's the good news. There is a practical, structured way to deal with this. It's a 4-stage intervention, a loop that's designed to pull you out of that spiral and bring you back to a place of balance. The very first stage is just to interrupt. Simple. It starts with mirror recognition, just noticing and acknowledging, okay, there it is, I'm in the spiral. Then you have to actively interrupt that pattern. This could be anything physical, like standing up, clapping your hands, or using a specific verbal cue. Finally, you anchor yourself with your breath, just a few conscious breaths to calm your nervous system and create a little bit of space. And this is the verbal declaration from the protocol. I know it might seem simple, but saying this out loud is incredibly powerful. It's not just a thought floating in your head. When you say it, you activate auditory feedback loops in your brain, which makes the interruption so much more real, more concrete. You're naming the thing, and by naming it, you're starting to take control of it. So after you interrupt, the second stage is to anchor. This is all about grounding yourself back in your body and the physical world. Start with a really simple physical ritual, like making a cup of tea or just sitting in silence for 2 minutes. Then you can use a structured check-in to ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? The whole goal here is to reconnect with biological time, the rhythm of your body, not just the frantic, accelerated time of the digital world. Stage 3 is reset, and this is all about actively, intentionally reducing your cognitive load. So reconnect with the physical world around you, touch a plant, organize your desk, feel your feet on the floor. But maybe the most powerful step here is intentional reduction. You have to explicitly decide and maybe even write down what you are not going to do today. This creates the boundary, the container that your brain desperately needs to actually recover. And finally, we have return. And listen, this isn't about just jumping right back into the chaos. No way. This is a conscious re-engagement. First, you assess your readiness. Like, are you actually ready, or do you just feel the pressure to be? Then, you adjust your tempo. You decide on a sustainable pace moving forward, and only then do you return to your work, but you do it with new boundaries and a much clearer sense of purpose. Okay, so that four-stage loop, think of it as a powerful emergency brake. It's what you pull when you're spinning out of control. But the real goal, the long-term goal, is to build these principles into a sustainable daily practice that prevents the spiral from even starting. And that means we have to start working with our brain's natural cycles, not constantly fighting against them. A 60 to 90-minute focus block, that lines up perfectly with our natural ultradian rhythms. But here's the key, the part everyone skips, the non-negotiable 15 to 30-minute integration period that has to follow. That's not a break. That's when your brain actually processes and consolidates everything. It's essential. Now, if we zoom out to the whole week, we can apply the exact same logic. Instead of constantly context switching, which gives us mental whiplash and is incredibly draining, you batch your tasks. You have dedicated creation days for that deep, focused work. You set aside connection days for meetings and collaborative stuff. And so critically, you schedule an integration day, or even just a half day, to review, process, and catch up. This is what prevents that backlog of unprocessed ideas and that feeling of dream debt. All right, let's zoom out even further, because this isn't just about personal productivity hacks, right? This is about something much bigger. This is about how we consciously design our relationship with the most powerful tools humanity has ever created. These right here are the fundamental challenges of the AI-human interface. First, there's processing asymmetry. AI is basically instantaneous, our biology is not. This creates pattern acceleration, where we get these incredible insights faster than our brains can possibly integrate them. That, in turn, creates an embodiment gap, a real disconnect from our physical selves. And finally, AI's 24/7, always-on nature completely disrupts the biological rhythms of rest and activity that we need to survive. And to put this all in perspective, the sheer volume of information that we can access has increased by at least 10 times. We are simply not built for that. Without a strategy, it is literally like trying to drink from a fire hose, and it just leads to complete and total conceptual overwhelm. So what's the way forward? How do we fix this? It's about consciously creating a symbiotic harmony. Step 1 is conscious interface design, setting real, intentional boundaries with our AI tools. Step 2 is rhythmic engagement, deliberately oscillating between collaborating with AI and then slowing down for human speed integration. And maybe most important of all is embodied wisdom primacy. We have to remember that our physical awareness, our gut feeling, has to be the final judge, no matter how smart our tools get. When you really boil it down, the Spiral Protocol isn't just another life hack. It's a practice of sovereignty. It forces us to ask the single most important question of our time. In an age of powerful, seemingly infinite artificial minds, how will we choose to inhabit, protect, and truly cultivate our own? The answer to that question is going to define not just our work, but our very humanity.